say, okay, I have a lot of money, but you have no money unless you take profits.
When the first ever spot ETF was created for gold 10x.
And the only thing I really knew was Bitcoin at the time, so I just invested very heavily into that. Rode it all the way up.
What's up?
My name is Jeff. Even the creators have said it's going to be the predecessor of CBDC.
What that taught me was that I need to be self-sufficient.
A solid DCA investment strategy, and pretend the red sell button doesn't even exist.
We about to go up like.
Alrighty, and we are live. You filthy degenerates, thank you as always for joining us for another wonderful episode of the Degen Roundtable podcast. Today, I will be your host, Jay. And I know some of you guys might be wondering, who is the person, our special guest in the mask? I do want to reassure you folks, we are not being held up for our private keys, okay? This is our buddy, Crypto Boogie. Boogie, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, what's poppin', monkeys? I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here the first time on the Degen Roundtable. I know you cats have been trying to get me on board, but finally the planets aligned and the moon aligned and everything else aligned and everything worked out, and I'm on board with you cats. Zenith, as stated earlier, I will have a debate with you about 300 Blackout on my channel. And Jay, you and I got to do some rock solid Viagra-based TA on my channel.
Then, I don't know about that, man. I don't think we'll need the Viagra, bro. I don't think that's needed, to be quite honest with you. Well, I think we'll be just fine.
Me that. The two things that give me that are guns and freaking TA. like that big ass green candle that we got on BTC and Ethereum today, huh? Yeah, I heard about that shit. I was reviewing the charts a little bit, and I kind of expected it. I did see an ascending triangle on the Bitcoin chart.
Yeah. Hey, man, but look, before we get into the TA and some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, some of the guys and some of the folks watching our channel are probably, they might not be familiar with you, bro. So if you could give us a little bit of a background, like, hey, man, how'd you get into crypto? What content do you create here on YouTube? And, like, how do you find this industry as a whole, man? Give us a little TLDR of a Crypto Boogie, bro. And why should they watch and listen to you?
Well, roger that, man. Freaking doggone. How'd I start off with? I got out the Marine Corps in 2004. I've always been a gun nut. How does this relate to crypto? I'll tell you. I've always been a gun nut. I used to work at a gun shop. And when you work for the gun industry, man, one of the main organizations that makes selling guns to law-abiding citizens that makes it difficult is the ATF. The ATF would always make it very difficult. So I was like, you know what? I'd already gotten all the guns I want. I was always at the range. So I started venturing into different things. And I was like, wow, man, freaking crypto, man. I heard about this freaking cool ass token called SHIB. And I tried buying it on OKX and I couldn't because I'm in Texas. So I tried buying it on Binance and I couldn't get it either because I'm in Texas. And I heard that they were having the same problems up in New York. And I'm like, what the hell's up with this shit? So my dad came down to visit me one day and he goes, you can get it on crypto.com. Yeah, believe it or not, a boomer taught me how to freaking get freaking crypto. So I started buying SHIB, and for about 8 or 9 months, bro, I listened to Coin Bureau and I listened to some of the other channels, but I couldn't understand what they were talking about, man. It's not till I saw Fresh and Fit, because I come from the Kevin Samuels community. I saw Fresh and Fit and I saw Charlie and Miguel on there, and I went ahead and I tried getting into the crypto mindset course, but I think they were already booked up and a week into the course. So I set up a freaking doggone consultation with Miguel. He taught me how to use Spooky Swap, and that was the end of it. Now, I am into real estate. I am into guns, and I also work a full-time job. So I'm pretty busy. And I was like, how can I contribute to the crypto space without wasting too much time? And I was like, what can I do on the go? And that's where I got rock hard for freaking technical analysis. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jelly bean. So yeah, that was my trip into the crypto sphere. And then I became real good friends with Miguel and Charlie. Charlie taught me the foundation of my technical analysis. I also viewed a lot of it on YouTube and things of that nature. But then again, I had that one consultation with you, Jay, and you just sharpened it up even more. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, I appreciate that, brother. Any value that I could provide to anybody, especially somebody who's obviously you've been doing this a lot more than I have. So the fact that you found some value in what I had to show you and teach you was, that's quite an honor, brother. But yeah, it seems like there's a very common denominator from a lot of us in this space. A lot of us here either found Charlie and Miguel through Fresh and Fit. We come from, we come from the Red Pill community. Some of us are really into real estate, or we have background in traditional finance. But it seems like a considerable amount of people that at least that I have met through this space and through this community that I've built relationships with over the past year, that it seems like those are some very common denominators, And so it's pretty cool to be able to find like-minded people to keep you accountable. And I'm telling you, man, you're definitely one of the people here. And I encourage anybody who likes technical analysis, who wants some insight into the space, and who might want a different perspective, right? If you come onto this show and you watch a TA that we do here, whether that's from me, it's from Zenith, or if Josh, or even some of our members like Niles will come on and do the TA. If you want a different perspective, it's always a good idea to check your work and to check other people's work against other technical analysts in the space. That way, you can be confident that you're not being taken for a ride. So I definitely highly recommend Boogie's channel in that regard.
Yeah, I concur completely. Zenith, I had no idea, man, when I met you at the Crypto Mindset Meetup, that you were a TA guy, bro. I thought you were just a fanboy.
I dabble in a little bit of everything, but yeah, I've been learning TA as the time goes on. And then I come from a little bit of I'm an engineer by trade, so numbers just kind of came naturally. And then I've been on my own trying to apply a little bit of statistical analysis to common TA practices, especially in the crypto space, and see if I can at least push it just an inch farther in that direction. So if you see me talking about normal distributions for 60-day cycles, that's mainly the idea that I'm talking about. But other than that, I try to stick to simple stuff as much as possible. Support, resistance, some Fibonacci stuff, 4-year macro cycles and 60-day cycles. There actually was a point recently where I was asked to be on a bit of a TA stream, and they're like, yeah, we're looking for one more guest. And it was basically it was either you or is there anyone else you know? And Boogie, I actually gave him your name. I said, this guy knows better than I do, so you should go ask him.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome.
What was the I was going to say, what was the name of that? What was the name of that place? If we hear rumor that Mr. Zenith is going over there, where should we look?
That is actually a bit of an internal discussion that we have going on right now. So I don't know if we have it announced yet, so I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay, well, never mind. Sorry about that.
Sorry. I was going to say real quick, we got 2 other guys here on the call with us. We got Will. Will, what's going on, man?
Oh, hey, how's it going, man? I'm just driving. I know my little header says Temple right now, but I'm driving through Dallas on my way back to my little shipping container where I live. I just got finished doing a whole bunch of pistol training for the day, a whole bunch of conceal carry, holster, unholster, draw, shoot, present, walk around, change positions, all that stuff. So knocking a little bit of rust off of the old skill set tree for me. That's what I'm up to. Other than that, just meeting a whole bunch of Hexicans down here in Texas, dude. Fucking Austin is full of Hexicans. Dallas, not so much, but Central Texas, there's Hexicans all over the place down there, man. Something about Austin staying weird.
Yeah,
lots of
man. Dude, that's awesome that you were. It's awesome that you were popping rounds, man. That's one problem that I've encountered in the gun space. You got a lot of people that collect weapons, but nobody actually wastes money on training. Everybody wants that Gucci freaking Glock, or that Gucci freaking Sig, or that Gucci freaking Prodigy. But dog, it doesn't mean jack if you don't know how to run the weapon, man. So I can
correct. I was thinking about, so I trained with the Steyr today, my Steyr pistol, which is pretty nice. It's the other Austrian gun as opposed to Glock. But I was thinking about busting out the old Tokarev, some freaking Cold War era Soviet shit to do some training on just for shits and giggles. But dude, I agree with you.
That ammunition, bro, when you pop that Tokarev, bro, and you use that freaking old school ammo, that freaking powder burns your freaking eyes when you're discharging that sucker. Ouch.
Yeah, it's nice, man. Dude, we burned through 400 rounds today, so that would have been a lot of the fucking 25.
Yeah, well sorry about that, guys. I get carried away with guns, man. I apologize.
Nah, no worries, bro. be the special guest, and we could talk about whichever subject your heart desires. So you want to fucking talk about guns? Or you want to talk about TA? Whatever it is, bro.
Well, hold on, we got one more person in here. We also got Nate. Nate, how you doing, man? What's going on, bro?
Hey, doing all right. Hey, to tell you the truth, I don't really know much about guns at all, but I do run every single other type of weapon, basically. I mean, chucks, bow staff, swords, bows and arrows.
I got a promise for you, Nate. When I come up there to visit you up there, way up north, I'm gonna teach you the basics of pistol marksmanship, and I'm gonna teach you the basics of rifle marksmanship. That's gonna happen, bro. When I come up and meet you.
On my to-do list. That's one of the things I'm going to part of when I buy back my time. I am actually going to go hard into learning about firearms and being able to do all that. So
Nate, train with Will. I mean, me and him were both in the Marine Corps, bro. And one of the things they teach us in the Marine Corps is the fundamentals of rifle marksmanship. If you learn that, then you can evolve into anything and you'll become a badass, bro.
Sweet, love it. Yeah, totally gonna do it. With that being said, I'm working on my show. Everything is just about set up. I just don't know what specific day I'm gonna be doing it. So yeah, that's when I finally figure out exactly which day that I'm gonna be streaming, then you guys will know.
Bro, you just gotta pick a day and start it, man. Kind of like what we did with this channel, right? I remember before we started this channel, we were all talking about it, and Nate was like, "Yo, here's the date and time for our first meeting. Let's get on this fucking call and set a time and date to do the show, because otherwise nothing is gonna happen, bro." So like you just gotta take that same initiative with your channel, bro. Pick a day, pick a time. Like, I'm gonna go live at this day and time, blast it through the socials, and then we'll be there, bro.
Yeah, I was thinking either Monday or Tuesday, but the thing is, this Tuesday I actually have my master's license testing for pesticides, and so I was like, okay, well, if I can't do it because I'm taking that test, maybe I should just wait for next week. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna do it Tuesday.
Hell yeah,
next Tuesday. It sounds like. I mean, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but it sounds like a good day to me.
It seems pretty good. I mean, Tracker and I usually have meetings on Mondays, so I was like, maybe Monday would be a bad time. So
I look forward to it, Nate. I look forward to your channel, man. Checking it out and shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
It's gonna be an interesting show. It's gonna be about the end of crypto. So yeah, check it out.
Really?
All right.
I was having a debate with one of my homies. He was talking this mad shit. He was saying, like, dude, you got to be investing in gold. That's where it's going to be at. Well, we went on.
Is your buddy Peter Schiff, bro?
No, it's his cousin, bro. Now we went on a little trip, man. I told him, look, man. For example, Bitcoin's got a limited supply of coins that are out there, man, and you can't make more than what there is out there. And I told him, once we get into space exploration, bro, and we start mining from asteroids and I mean that high speed shit in 2300. I told him, you're not going to be able to mine Bitcoin on an asteroid, homie. Maybe gold, but not Bitcoin, son.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's going to become a lot more obvious for people as this next bull market progresses, because it's going to be really difficult to ignore Bitcoin, and it's going to be difficult to not at the very least try to dip your foot in when the big financial institutions and the overwhelming majority of traditional financial institutions finally jump into the space. Because as opposed to within like the last decade where this space is still kind of niche, now we're talking about mass adoption, right? Now you're talking about getting the rest of the population, right? Everybody that exists in the middle of that bell curve. Now you're talking about getting those folks into the space. So it's going to be really hard to ignore this space in 2024 and 2025, especially once we go parabolic. So I think give it 2 more years, Boogie. I think you're gonna have a lot less people talking about gold, and you're gonna have a lot more people talking about Bitcoin, man, because everybody's gonna be transitioning into it for sure.
Yeah, well, with the way things are going, man, I do expect people to start talking a lot about Bitcoin around January 10th or so, man, give or take. Yeah. With all the bullish data that we're getting, bro, and all the freaking hype that we're getting, I think it's not impossible to see 55 or 54, bro, by January 10th, or a little bit after.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey man, so on that note, bro. Oh, sorry, Nate. Go ahead. Did you have something to
Oh
add?
no, I just wanted to agree with that. You are going to have people talking about it because it's really pumping right now. We hit 40K, and it's just, what is it? The next one is what, 48, right? Like, it's just going up. It's gonna people are starting to talk about it again.
Yep. Yeah, man. Bear. I was like trying to come up with a title for this show, bro, and I want to name this episode Bears are big mad because they're down so fucking bad, bro. I don't know if you guys follow Capo. He's like one of the most popular Bears on Twitter, and this man is still over here talking about how this is still part of the plan, guys. This is still part of the plan. It's like at a certain point, the man is gonna be right. One more time, what was that?
I was just saying 11K and pray, baby.
Yeah, I mean, my man's definitely gonna be praying to what God he's gonna be praying to. I don't know, but you know, like at a certain point, he's gonna be right. We're gonna have a pullback, but it's not gonna be the pullback that him and his followers are gonna be expecting, right? Because this man was still calling for like $20,000 Bitcoin. I don't know if he's calling for anything lower than that, but it's like it's weird. It's weird how you have a whole year of nothing but positive price action up and to the right, obviously with a little bit of consolidation and some down action in between there, right? Because we all know that's a part of healthy markets. But it's weird to me how Bitcoin has been on this extremely bullish uptrend for the whole year, and you still have all these people out here calling for like $10,000 Bitcoin. Like, what is it gonna convince? What is it going to take to convince you that, bro, we are in a bull market? And I'm going to go on a limb here to say that we're never going to see $10,000 Bitcoin ever again. Like, what do you guys think, man?
I think that's 100%. I don't think we're ever going to get that low again. I mean, it's, mechanics down here is just simply saying it's all going to zero, but that's what we tend to say. I personally think there's going to be a lot more zeros, but there's at least going to be a 1 in front of it. So.
Yeah, 6 zeros and a 1 precisely. I think by 2024, early 2025. I don't think that's out of the question, to be quite honest.
Pulling up
what do you think,
Boogie here?
There would have to be a black swan event. Now, as stated, man, we have never been closer to nuclear war than we are today, man. If something were to happen which is completely black swan, then yeah, possibly you'll see BTC at about 13, 14. But the likelihood of that happening is, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting it to happen with the data we're getting from the charts, but black swans are unpredictable, and the charts can't predict that.
Yeah. Hey, I have a question for both you and Will. So you mentioned the threat of nuclear war. Like I think it's fairly obvious to anybody who's been paying attention to the macroeconomic and international news that yes, there is a lot of tension between multiple countries, right? And the threat of nuclear war is certainly there. I have heard the argument from some people that yes, war is a black swan, but the thing is, war is usually good for markets. Can you guys give me your input about that statement? Like, do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Like, what factors are you looking at when it comes to things like that?
When it comes to wars, that starts the money printing. Like, you have to fund the war somehow. Ultimately, especially when it comes to like proxy wars, they just start sending money over there, and well, unfortunately, they sacrifice lives to add liquidity ultimately to our markets. And so, yeah, and everybody starts, pumping up and getting more money. So there's more liquidity out there ultimately.
No, yeah, I concur. Nate, you're correct about that. Once the war starts building up, you are correct. The money printers do start running. What I was referring to, though, was an initial nuclear blast from one country to the other, bro. That would probably induce the markets to go down to the downside. I have been listening a little bit to Tim Pool, and they have been talking a little bit about the frickin' draft and things of that nature, and expanding the draft to people of older age, for the reason being that the younger generations really can't handle the basics of boot camp. What say you, Will Stevenson?
I think that's absolutely right. I think it's hilarious, first off, that well, from like a nihilistic, oh, isn't it funny how fast we're spinning as we're swirling down the drain, right? I think that's kind of hilarious that just like the state of the country is in like such disrepair, and the youth are so terribly done off that like this is where we find ourselves. But like moving past that, as far as war goes, like I totally agree with Boogie and Nate. The only thing that would drop the price of the assets and the coins is like a crazy mass extinction event, whether it's nuclear war or like, you know, a volcano explodes in like national or whatever the hell that park is over in Wyoming that I can't think of for some fucking reason.
Yellowstone.
Like if there's Yellowstone, yeah. So like if a mass extinction event happens and a whole bunch of people die very suddenly, then I could see like that affecting Bitcoin price. But like if we declare war somewhere and then we're like slowly sending troops over, then yeah, I think that the war machine's going to be cranking, and that means that Raytheon, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and all those other like industrial war machine people are going to be getting tons of money. And we all know that they drink coffee and they drive cars that need their tires rotated and they need AC in their houses. So they're going to be spending money in the United States. And also the United States is going to be sending money overseas to, you know, bail out everybody else and yada, yada, yada. So if a boring war starts, you know, like what's happening now with, a boring war, like one that we don't have to worry about dying in, like what's going on over in Israel and what's going on over in Ukraine. It's like, it's not really a whole lot of American lives at stake. It's a whole bunch of other people. And we're building like the ammo that they're quote unquote buying from us or whatever. Right. So it's like this, they're printing money away, which is eventually going to make the price of things go up. But one of those things that will go up is, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever cryptocurrency, whatever assets people are deciding to be interested in. So like if it's crazy war, then yeah, price go down. And if it's boring war, then cool beans price go up. And also it's funny that there's a whole bunch of fat kids. So those are my thoughts.
When Boogie said that they're thinking about expanding the age limit for the draft because the younger generation can't do a fucking pull up or do a push up. That reminds me. I know not a lot of people are fans of Disney anymore, bro. But remember the original Mulan movie where because her dad didn't have any sons to go to war. Like he had to like fucking he had to like he's over here crippled and shit, and he had to volunteer himself for the Emperor's War to defend China from the Huns because he had no sons to put forward, bro. This is like a more pathetic version of that, right?
Yeah,
it's like
actually the perfect analogy.
Female, right? You had the daughter volunteer herself, which is also kind of what they're looking at. They're looking to add females into the draft.
I'll say this though, the Mulan, the dilemma that you just brought up there is actually perfect for right now, because before they even go to a draft, the first thing they're going to do is activate the reserves. And right now, the reserves is a bunch of older dudes with bad knees and backs, aka Mulan's dad. Or if you don't want that, then you have to go find out the other people. So it's like, would you rather have your bro vets come back with the torn ACLs and the herniated discs, or would you rather have some fresh young folk that don't exactly know what they're doing? I did hear a really good David Goggins quote about this one, though. Is like, for every 100 people that go into a war, 10 people shouldn't even be there. 80% are just targets. 9 people are the actual guys that do 90% of the fighting. And then 1 person is like a true warrior. So aim to be in the 9 and try to be in the 1, but definitely try not to be that 80%.
Yeah, man. Yeah. God forbid they expand the draft to 45. Oh my goodness. That means you're going to have Gen X in that war, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, yikes.
One thing to think about is remember how well the U.S. did in World War I and World War II. Like discounting all the people that died, you know, it's very sad and all. But like taking a step back and looking at it kind of like emotionless, like holy fuck, the U.S. economy like did crazy well from both of those wars because we were selling, you know, tanks to like Britain, France, and doing all this like crazy stuff where we were just basically, they were giving us a bunch of money. Our shit didn't get tore up. Our country didn't get fucked. We still had all of our industry. We still had everything that we were cranking out, you know? And so
they gave us all
just
their
to
gold, too.
You know what's wild though? That feminism was on the rise, approaching World War One, and then
Oh,
after
yeah.
World War One happened, it broke, and then it was on the rise again, approaching World War Two, and then it broke.
Yeah.
Wars. I mean, these wars always they always take us back a little bit. I don't want to say to the Stone Age, but it takes us back to our natural gender roles per se.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bro,
The
we
fact
about to
that-
we about to get canceled, bro.
Hey, that's all right. Hey, we're just about to get monetized, and here we go.
You heard it here,
Yo,
folks.
Josh
We
is
need
gonna
to
be so
stop
pissed. Like,
feminists.
guys, we're about to get monetized.
You're
Yeah.
about to get crypto boogied. My last channel got freaking decimated.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's good to hear though that you got another new channel up. I subbed to that just the other day. I saw your I think it was your Instagram post.
Boogie, do the plug. Do the plug, Boogie.
Yeah, actually.
On my Twitter, I am US Crypto _boogie. On YouTube, it's the same way, US Crypto _boogie. For my Instagram, it's just Crypto _boogie. For Rumble, the same thing, Crypto _boogie.
There we go.
Yo, how do you
shit.
like
Let me get
Rumble,
back
man?
up.
It's like, is the UX a lot more friendly for Rumble? Like, we want, like,
Nah,
yo, we
man.
want to expand the nah.
You can't beat YouTube, bro. YouTube's where it's at. Now, what would be dope is if Elon Musk goes and buys Rumble and he upgrades it. That would be off the chain, and he integrates it with Twitter. That would be the rise of dueling economies, my friend.
Shit. Hey, man. I know people. I know he came out explicitly with a statement that he's never going to create a cryptocurrency, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to indirectly endorse some. Because if he is trying to turn X into like a holistic system, right? He's most likely, I've heard people are probably going to be able to pay and tip using Doge and Bitcoin, if anything, man. And so if that happens and he integrates, like if he goes out on a limb and buys Rumble, man, that's gonna be a good time, man. It's gonna piss a lot of people off.
Yeah,
I think this is one of the articles we covered a little bit ago, is that Twitter actually filed an application for what is it, a money transmission permit or something?
Yep.
So they actually have the ability to act as like somewhat of a bank. So that lines up exactly what you're saying. I will say this about Rumble, though. The CEO over there is also very much pro free speech. So he might not be like Elon Musk levels, but he's still a good founder that's sticking to principles. And I don't see any indication that he's going to be changing on that. So Rumble, while it is kind of a bit of a B tier user interface, and it's Metcalfe's law, which is that the value of your network is about the price of the users. There's just not enough users on Rumble. Yeah. So YouTube just still is so far ahead of it just as a result of that.
Yeah.
And also, like, YouTube is crazy heavily subsidized, so they've just got money pouring in from everywhere. Whereas I think that Rumble is more grassroots. I know they went public maybe about a year ago, a little more, I think. But Rumble's a publicly traded stock, and I want to say that because of that, they probably have some sort of like shareholder responsibilities and yada yada yada. I don't know about YouTube if YouTube is, but I know that Google super duper heavy subsidizes YouTube. So there's like Google's got YouTube's back, and Rumble, it's like, well, good luck, buddy.
Yeah.
So that's a thing too.
I wanted to highlight Brown's comment here.
Yo, this man finna get us canceled, bro.
Yeah, we got Farmer J.
This guy.
Farmer J in the chat.
Farmer J.
Hell yeah, Farmer J. I'm heading back to my
Farmer J
shipping
said-
container.
Oh, man.
Farmer J said,
we got
"Hey,
James by
you
Casey
draft
in
all
the
the
chat, homie.
Oh hell yeah.
yeah, man. We got a few guys. We got a few of our regulars in the chat, man. Hey, Farmer J says they should draft all the equal rights feminists first, man.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, Farmer J. You know, like Boogie said earlier, that whenever shit hits the fan, people just tend to naturally fall back into their natural gender roles. There's nobody. The feminists aren't gonna be voting for them to be drafted first into a war. There's absolutely no way. So I don't think that's happening anytime soon, to be honest with you, bro. But hey, man, it's a thought. It's a thought. And speaking of, hey, shout out to Casey in the chat. He says, "What's up, guys? If there's something," he spoke about this a few during the Thanksgiving Whiskey Wednesday AMA, I believe. He spoke about how he's creating programs that'll improve the military capabilities of the people that are entering the force, right? So that we don't get wrecked just in case shit does hit the fan. So shout out to Casey, man.
Yep,
Nate,
that's
you having a
absolutely true.
blast over there, Nate. You having a freaking blast, dude.
These guys, they keep the jokes running, man.
Damn, I wish I wasn't driving so I could read this shit.
No, I saw this one meme. Of course, I'm not running this channel, and I wouldn't want to get your YouTube channel canceled. But I saw this meme of this purple-haired feminist, bro, actually baking apple pie, and the meme stated, "When feminists find out World War III is kicking off," and she was in an apron, and she was rocking an apron too, man. I'm saying,
dude, yeah, war will. I mean, the threat of death, like, really makes people reevaluate their lives and realize that, like, we're not always going to have air conditioning. We're not always going to have like bread at the store. We're not always going to have fucking toilet paper at the local like place. Like, you might find yourself in a situation where you have to like literally fend for your life, and you won't have electricity, and shit's going to be hard, and you need someone around to solve your problems. So this is something that's like, living in the West, we don't often think of these things. We don't often consider like, oh, my whole world could be turned upside down, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air style, and then I'll find myself in a whole new place and have to get used to everything again. So
nice reference.
Yeah, that's
no,
super
definitely, man. I'm with Will on that one, bro. Being in the Marine Corps, man, going to the field, bro, experiencing what it's like, not having freaking food having like maybe half a meal a day, hiking with freaking packs in the rain, sleeping in the rain, bro, not having AC. Getting freaking half-cooked chow, bro. Dude, all that stuff, man. It makes you realize how good we really have it. And a lot of us don't realize how good we really have it, man. Living in a residence with AC alone, bro, that's a major luxury a lot of people don't know that we have. Or heating at that. In my community where I'm at, of course, this is Texas, but there's a lot of Hispanic cultures here. There's a lot of Mexican cultures here. And I remember one time back in 2006, I went to go pick up this girl on a date. And she smelled like a little bit like charcoal, man. Because what they were doing is they'd heat up.
Is that the coal mines, bro?
Yeah, no, she smelled a little bit like, I want to say mesquite, like firewood. You know what I'm saying? Because they would heat up their home utilizing firewood, so all their clothes smelled like freaking doggone firewood, bro. And that's
that is beautiful. I love it.
That is actually beautiful. Yeah,
I love the smell of firewood.
I like it. Reminds you of like camping and everything,
Yeah, there's something to be said about like living close to difficulty or something like that. I know. So I recently heard this really like wise saying, and somebody was like, anyone can do anything when it's fucking sunny out, but if you see people out there, oh yeah, Boogie, that's right. You were talking about like rucking in the rain, and I was just thinking like anyone can do anything when it's sunny out, right? But when you see people doing stuff excellent in the rain, that shows that like, oh, these people are serious. These people train in all the situations. They're ready for like, the power grid going out. They're ready to, do all this craziness. And I don't really know where I'm going with that thought, but it just made me think excellent in the rain. I forgot where I heard that from.
When you're doing your job in negative 20-degree weather in the snow,
yeah,
you know that you're a good worker.
Yep.
Ask me how I know.
Oh, I think that there might be someone who's out there solving pest problems in 20 degrees in the snow.
Yeah. No, I mean, Will, that's absolutely correct. It's the same thing within the cryptocurrency space, right? I'm sure all of you are familiar with when it's the bull market, when everybody's making a ton of money and everybody's excited about crypto. It's really easy to be on the ball then, right? But I'm sure you guys remember our mentors talking about it. But the real wealth is made during the bear market, when everybody has checked out, when nobody wants to talk about crypto, when nobody wants to do videos, when everybody out there is sitting on their hands, they're sad because price go down and to the right. When it's not popular, man, that's when the real wealth is made, right? That's when you actually build the resilience, right, and the skills that will make you good in the bull market, right? So I completely agree with you there, right? Because it's a complete analogy to the crypto space as a whole as well. Yeah. So Did you have something to add?
No, I was just getting ready. It sounds like you're going somewhere. So go ahead and take it away. I was just going to basically beat a dead horse. So disregard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I wanted to transition us finally into the TA. So how about this? Boogie, why don't you start us off, brother? What are you seeing on your charts? Give our audience here a fresh insight into somebody who's not me or Zenith or Josh. What are you seeing in your charts, man? Like, what do you think is going to happen during December? Are we going to crack 40K Bitcoin and keep going up? Well, we actually already hit 40K Bitcoin. Do we keep going up to 50,000, or are we going to pull back like Capo says, back to 30,000, man? What are you seeing in your charts, brother? And hey, if you need to share anything, let us know. Cassie will share the screen for you, okay?
Roger that. Let's check out the charts. I do have BTC on my trading view, and I'm ready to share that sucker. I also wanted to share the DXY a little bit.
Let's do it.
Let me see. Share screen. Not that Bitcoin, but this.
I just want to say buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin.
Hey, Boogie, be careful. Don't share us your OnlyFans, okay?
Dude, come on, man. You're killing me here, bro.
No, I want to see the OnlyFans. Don't hold back.
Yeah, I unmask on OnlyFans, son.
All
right.
Oh shit.
All right, this is what we got, cats. This is what we got. Let me just verify something. Cool. This is what we got. Currently, the value of Bitcoin is at about 40,687. We recently got this green candle, I'm assuming via UTC time, because Bitcoin is on UTC time. Now, shout out to my homie here, Agent J, who went ahead and sharpened me up on 60-day cycles. What can we see Bitcoin entail and from here to the 13th? And why am I mentioning the 13th? Can any of you cats guess why?
I bet the 13th is either the next FOMC meeting or the CPI. Which one of those? Did I hit one of those?
Yeah, I'm talking about the FOMC. Historically, after they've paused for at least 2 sessions when it comes to the FOMC meetings, you never really get a rate hike. Could it happen? Yes. But the likelihood is no. So let's go ahead and grab this freaking bar right here, which we have it at 17 days, or it says here 17 bars. For you cats that don't know, if you guys don't understand TA, that means days. Currently, if we push this all the way to the 13th down here, that would put us around the 30-day mark of Bitcoin. So, in my opinion, could Bitcoin come to the downside? A little bit. But if I zoom in here, I do have this giant ascending triangle. Bitcoin didn't make too much contact with half of it, but I do foresee it bouncing around within this smaller aspect of this ascending triangle. Know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So, I think that we're probably going to come back down here and we're going to bounce within the triangle. After we get out of the freaking 30-day mark or the 29-day mark after the 13th, I think Bitcoin's probably going to rally even harder. Where can it go to? Let's check out our former resistance areas. If we backtrack a little bit, the next area that we do have to compromise is at about 43,081. And the day that we had that was on April 22nd. Know what I'm saying? I do foresee if we maintain Bitcoin at the value of over 40,000 all the way to the end of the week, and it closes on Friday, UTC time, we'll probably maintain 40,000. In my opinion, I think that's what's going to end up happening. Now, if we pull up the MACD, for you cats that don't know, this stands for Moving Average Convergence Divergence. Let me go ahead and get this squared away for you cats. And we are on the daily. We just recently crossed, and we crossed on December 2nd. So this blue line over here entails that we're pretty bullish on things, and we're probably going to continue running to the upside. If you look at prior history on the MACD, for example, down here on the 15th, if we use that exact same data but on a higher level, you can see that it opens up really strong. Now, one of the tools that I like to utilize, are you cats there? Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, sir. Hear you loud and clear.
Roger that. One of the tools that I really like to utilize is the 4-hour chart. And let me tell you why. Because when I run the 4-hour chart and I activate my EMA ribbon, what do I see? Bitcoin tends to ride it. And the more it opens up, for example, in this area over here, Bitcoin bounces harder or it jumps up harder. Now, what are we seeing over here on this side of the MACD? we're seeing that the MACD, or not the MACD, I'm sorry, the EMA ribbon, it's starting to open up a little bit more, and hence what's Bitcoin doing? It's bouncing up harder. So I do think we're probably going to continue rallying tomorrow, and that's what I see going on with BTC so far. Now, if you cats want me to show you some of the other charts and some of the other coins you guys want to see, I can definitely hit you up on that. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure, man. Let's go ahead and finish up the analysis on BTC here, and then we can actually go in and move into some altcoins that you might want to take a look at. But Zenith, did you have any comments or maybe give us some insight onto your own TA? What are you seeing? What confluence are you seeing with yours and Boogie's TA? Hit us with it, brother.
Sure thing. So the first thing I'm going to touch on is that I do believe we had our 60-day cycle low come in on the 14th of November. So that gives us an estimated 60-day cycle range of January 13th. Just like we were talking about earlier, Boogie mentioned this previously, January 10th is a big day for Bitcoin because that's when the deadline for Bitcoin ETFs happens. Also, we do have a CPI report on the 11th of January. So we've got 3 major macroeconomic events right around the end of a 60-day cycle. It's a possibility for something to either be like a big low or maybe a time-based low before we shoot off into the next cycle. As far as my notes, I have 3 resistances that I am going to point out. Based on these are resistances from the coming down in the bear market and a little bit after that first top before we went to the double top last cycle. So first off, we got 42,000, 45,000, and 48,000. 48,000 is noticeably what I think the strongest of those 3 resistances. And up into this point, I thought that 48K was going to be the top before when we hit that halvening, before there's a little bit of a dip, because historically that's what we've seen. So I had 48K as my like halvening top. However, with this move right here, and we didn't really bounce back below and go retest 32,000 after our cycle low. So it's possible, in my opinion, that we break 48K for the halvening.
Agreed. Okay, so before we move on, I'm actually going. So both Boogie and Zenith gave us some pretty it seems like both of you are pretty bullish heading into January, right? But I know there's going to be some people in the space who are still hoping and praying that we get some kind of pullback. And so what I'm going to do actually is, before I give my bullish scenario, I'm going to give some of the bears a little bit of rope here, and give you guys a potential bearish case if we are going to head into a left translated cycle here for December, and that if the Santa rally that we're getting right now is going to be the Santa rally, right? Is the $40,000? Is that the Santa rally? And then we're going to head into a left translated cycle into December and then into early January, just before we get the ETF announcements. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys here.
Hey Jay, are you giving the bears rope to hang themselves with?
No, I was gonna say that, Nate, but I'm like, somebody's gonna say it, man. I don't have to say it. And then you said it.
I'm actually hoping that my TA is wrong and we do get another dip, man, because I want to buy more. Of course, I mean, I'll ride the rally to the upside, but dude, any opportunity I get to buy, dude, that would be freaking dope.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, I was watching. Ivan is on my morning playlist, right? There's 2 main YouTubers that I watch every morning because they're in a different time zone and they're up very early. So as soon as I'm up and getting ready to go to the gym, they're the first in my ear. And so Ivan always says that whenever you're in a bull market, every single pullback that we have, and I agree with him, every single pullback that we have is an opportunity for you to buy more, right? Because if you are in agreement with the rest of us here that we are indeed in a new bull, in a bull cycle, in a bull market, then every single opportunity that Bitcoin gives you or your favorite altcoin gives you when they pull back is an opportunity for you to buy more. Because if you think a 2x off of the lows is something, oh man, you're going to be in complete disbelief once we go parabolic. So yeah, man, I'm also hoping that we get a little bit of a dip. That way we can pack our bags a little bit tighter. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give you a bearish scenario if we do head into a left translated cycle near the end of December and heading into early January. Let me know, do you guys see the screen right here?
Not yet. There we go. You got it.
It's loading. There you go.
Okay, fantastic. So, in agreement with both Zenith and Boogie, I do also believe that we are in a new 60-day cycle. Currently, we have a high here, such a beautiful high of 40,876 on today's candle for Bitcoin, right? We are on day number 19. I actually got to go ahead and change that. Now, here's the thing. Me and Boogie actually have very similar ascending triangle patterns. I do have my horizontal resistance here a bit lower than he did at around $38,000, just because this is the area of price that Bitcoin spent a little bit of time consolidating. If you see here, we tested this $38,000 mark several times, right? Rejected several times. Price tried to come down below the 20-day moving average. Didn't really spend a considerable amount of time here. And the triangle that I have forming here is actually around $38,000. And this upward sloping trend line that we have formed since the beginning of the year. And if you can see here, we have broken strongly towards the upside. If you guys remember, last week I said that when Bitcoin, and I've mentioned this a few times, this is not just for Bitcoin, this is for any coin within the market that you might be paying attention to, that every single time price gets caught in between a rock and a hard place. If you can see here, you have this long-term trend line. You have this horizontal resistance. You have the 20-day moving average, and also the Bollinger Bands pinching into price. What's going to happen? You're going to get some kind of volatile move to the upside. And what happened? Bitcoin gave us exactly that and punched through 38,000 all the way up into $40,000. Now, there are a few things here that I'm going to give the bears the benefit of the doubt, that they're saying, hey, we are indeed getting overheated, and we think that we're going to head into a left translated cycle into December. Now, what are the reasons for that? Well, number one, right? Here's the thing. We already have strong bearish divergence forming on the RSI. All right, just as a quick reminder, your RSI is your momentum indicator. And if you can see here on the daily, what do we have? We have Bitcoin making new higher highs. However, on your momentum indicator here, which is the RSI, you have lower highs, right? And whenever this happens, that is a good indicator for you guys out there doing technical analysis that this bullish move is starting to lose some momentum, right? And so that's one reason why I think you have a ton of bears out here on Twitter and on YouTube saying that we are going to be heading into a left translated cycle. However, here's the thing. If we are going to be in a left translated cycle, I would expect Bitcoin to start heading back down sometime next week, right? And Boogie mentioned this earlier in his analysis, and I am in complete agreement with him that if we are going to be in a left translated cycle, I think that sometime next week we start heading back down, right? I think we lose, we might try for 41,000, we get rejected here. We lose this horizontal support line here. And then a confirmation that I'm going to be looking at for is if we lose and start to close days below this 20-day moving average, right? And so if we are going to head lower into the latter half of December, then that is the confirmation I am going to look for, right? That we lose this horizontal trend line, this horizontal support line here at $38,000, and then we lose the 20-day moving average around $37,700, and we start closing days below that. Now, let's talk about price targets to the downside. So if we do lose $38,000, I don't expect Bitcoin to come any lower than this level here. The first target that I have for as far as price targets are concerned is this area right here of $34,000, 34.8 K, right? Why is that our first target? Well, if we do a fib retracement, right, from the start of our wave 3, and then we pull that fib retracement to our current high, you could see that the 0.382 level is smack right there at $34,700, right? And some change. Call it $34,800. to round up. And what we know is that whenever we pull back, price tends to pull back around this 0.382 fib level, right? Now, what happens if we do get significantly bearish news? What happens if during the FOMC meeting, during the coming few weeks, Powell decides to say, hey guys, actually, you know what? We're actually going to raise the rates in December. What happens? Well, that could certainly put more headwind into the market, and that could certainly push us a lot lower. Now, what is the next target after $34,800? I don't expect Bitcoin to come any lower than this area here of, let's call it 32,000. Why is that? Well, you can see here that we have our cycle here, cycle high here around July. This was the yearly high up until recently, until we broke it around here, which was at the tail end of October, right? And what do we know about past cycle highs? We know that if price starts to come back down, there is a tendency for past cycle highs to form as pretty strong support. Now, the reason why I say that this 0.618 target here is not out of the question is because of how parabolic this move was here to the upside. We don't really have a lot of price action, right? In between 31,200, right? And this area of 33,600, right? Because of how bullish this move is to the upside, we didn't spend a lot of time consolidating around this area. And so if we do lose that 20-day moving average and break down below this 34.7 area that we spoke about earlier, then this cycle high of $31,800 Bitcoin is a reasonable area of support that you can expect Bitcoin to come down to, right? But that's probably as low as I see price going. I don't think we see anything lower than $31,800 Bitcoin, just because of how bullish the moves to the upside have been. And also you have to consider the fact that and we'll go over this in some of the articles later, right? That the overwhelming majority of Bitcoin that's circulating in the market right now belongs to long-term holders, right? Belongs to holders whose Bitcoin have not moved for more than a year, right? It's over 70% now. What does that tell us? It tells us that people are not selling, that any type of downwards movement that you're going to see in the markets are from short-term players that are either they just want their 2x and they want to get the hell out of the market, or from players playing with leverage and are like they're getting liquidated, right? Okay, so those are some. If you're still bearish and you're hoping for some price targets to the downside, those two areas between $34,800 and $31,800 are what you can expect if we get some significant bearish news over the next few weeks, heading into the latter half of December. Those are some price targets that you could be looking out for if you're still looking to buy back in lower. How likely that is to happen? I think the probabilities are low. I think if we do have a pullback, I think that pullback is not as severe and it's very short-lived, because everybody is, the closer that we get to January 10th and the potential ETF approvals, the less likely people are going to part with anything, whether that be Bitcoin or their altcoins. Zenith, Boogie, do you guys have any comments or questions or concern about that analysis at all? Did you guys want to add anything to it?
I got one real quick. I think Jay's completely right when he says that I don't think we're going back below 32,000. That, in my opinion, is a very, very strong support line. So even if these 60-day cycles break down pretty bad, I think 32K is a support level that we're not going to blow through.
I concur with Zenith as to what he's stating. Now, let me throw you guys a curveball. Let's say the SEC continues rogue, and come January 10th, they still don't approve the Bitcoin ETF, and they would be in total contrast to what the courts told them to do, leaving it in a gray area for the feds to figure it out. That would be wild.
You know, so if it happens, it certainly wouldn't be incongruent with how Gensler has behaved over the past year, right? So,
Yeah.
is it possible? Yes. Probable? Still, actually, pretty damn likely. But here's the thing: the only thing that they're going to do is delay the inevitability for just a few more months, right? Because for a lot of these different companies that have applied for the spot ETFs, that is their second to last deadline. And the only thing that's going to do is push the deadlines back closer to when the happening occurs sometime in mid-March or early April, right? And if that does happen, the only thing that's going to do is make sure that when the happening does occur, that the price goes even more parabolic than we were expecting it to do. Right? That's my personal take on it.
To add a little context,
go ahead.
Go for it, Boogie.
Yeah, I wonder how the feds would react if the SEC just completely goes rogue, doesn't pay attention to what the courts say. I would have to dive into the freaking into the USC code to see what exactly happens next, because I just cannot see freaking Gary Gensler getting arrested for doing something like that, you know?
No, people in political power or positions of power like this in the government, it's never just like a straight arrest thing. If anything, it kind of just goes to the courts to get kicked around as like a constitutional question, so to speak.
More like it would make him step down, right?
That, and arguably, people could be saying that he's already 1 foot out the door, so this just could be like a last parting shot, last piece of defiance. But to add a little context to what we're talking about, the final deadline is for the ARC 21 shares Bitcoin ETF. That is a mouthful. However, this is the first of the final deadlines for Bitcoin ETFs. A bunch of the other ones actually happen on March 15th, and then there's one more, the Valkyrie Bitcoin Fund, on March 19th. Valkyrie is added to this list because they are one of the folks that actually have the futures ETF that is currently active. So that's why they're on the notable list without actually being on that last deadline. But yeah, if it's not January 10th, it's going to be March 15th. That's going to be the big ETF day.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just playing the devil's advocate a little bit, but yeah, more than likely it will get approved. But just keep it in the back of your head, man, that there could be that curveball that Gary Gensler still doesn't comply, you know?
And if that curveball is actually thrown at us, right, that would knock a lot of big money heads for a loop, and that would be something of what's the best way to put that? A big no-no. You will not want to do that.
Yeah,
you're not wrong. Yeah, to give some credence to this idea, there's two things that are happening here to give the idea that Gary could go rogue. Number one is that in the grayscale ruling, the Federal Court of Appeals looked at the case and was like, you people are not following your own rules, and by no standard either. It's just completely arbitrary. The other one is, if you're paying attention to the last time, I want to say it was September, Gary Gensler went before Congress twice for testimony. In one of them, the chair of the Senate, I think, actually was the guy that said, we've never had to subpoena an SEC head, yet we're subpoenaing you, and we will have to take more drastic action if you don't give us documents related to the FTX collapse. So he's clearly showing that he defies the powers that be, and also is trying to defy the courts a little bit as well. So it's entirely possible. So it's definitely a thought to keep in mind.
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Sure. If he does, it's fireworks.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? We alluded to this earlier. In a bull market, any pullback that the market gives you is an opportunity for you to buy more, right? Because we know exactly where the price is heading mid to late 2024 and early 2025, right? Even if you're just invested in Bitcoin alone, right? We know where the price is heading. And so you take any pullback that the market gives you as a gift for you to buy in more, right? And so here's one thing that I actually found very interesting that I heard, since we're on the subject of Gary Gensler and the SEC. A lot of you guys are going to be familiar with the fact that during his time in MIT, he was a professor at MIT. GG was actually a very big proponent of not just Bitcoin, but a few other altcoins, right? Algorand is the one that he was very positive on when he was talking about cryptocurrency during his time at MIT. Now, a lot of people were thinking and asking the question, what could have possibly happened in the time course from his transition from MIT to his position at the SEC that could have completely changed his mind about crypto? Well, here's the thing, and I actually agree with this theory, right? I think it has a lot of credence. And they spoke about the fact that Gary Gensler, not like his position as chair of the SEC is not where he actually wants to be, right? It's not his end goal. What his end goal is he actually wants to be head of the Treasury, right? And what people are saying is that if you want to be head of the Treasury, you have to be pro US dollar, right? You can't be pro anything, any other type of currency. You have to be pro US dollar. And so the reason why he's so hard on cryptocurrency is because he knows that this asset class has a considerable chance of usurping the US dollar as the world reserve currency. And that's why he's pushing back so hard against it, right? Because he does want that spot as the head of the Treasury. Well, what do you guys think about that?
I think that he would want that spot, but no, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to get you guys banned.
I'll be honest.
Nah, bro, say it, man. Wear it in your sleeve, bro.
I thought you had to be one of them boys, man, to be the head of the freaking Treasury, bro.
Not wrong. To
I mean,
get
a majority
in a
of them.
position like that, you got to be kind of connected. I'm not going to lie. That's at least what the track record shows.
If you actually look at, and I'm not 100%, so obviously verify, but from what I heard, he is.
Oh, okay.
Jay, I was following you all along the way. We were like, oh yeah, he's using this as a stepping stone. He's looking at something else. I was like, okay. In my mind, I thought you were going to be talking about like the head of like a private firm or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, so this theory has been floating around in the YouTube space for quite a while. He wants the top spot in the Treasury. And it makes sense that if you want to be head of the Treasury, you have to be pro-American dollar. Right? Can you imagine being head of the Treasury and you're like, actually like Bitcoin a lot more?
I could see that if we were trying to transition to something, but I think you're definitely onto something, which is that the monolith that is the U.S. government shows no indication that they want to do anything different with the money supply. Yeah, it makes sense if you're pro alternate source of money or crypto in this case. Yeah, it's not a good look for the.
Well, you've been eerily quiet. You gotta have some thoughts on this, bro.
Bro, I got no clue what Gary Gensler wants to do other than just guzzle down buckets and buckets of semen. You know, that's all that he's good for, really. So, like, honestly, all jokes aside, I don't know much about who he is, what he wants. I can kind of presume that, you know, he wants what's in his own best self-interest, which is probably money and power and fame and all that. But like, I don't know what good it does to kind of speculate what Gary Gensler is going to be doing, other than like, you know, maybe he'll one day make another rule or something that might piss us off, or who the hell knows. But
or not.
As of now, yeah, I got no clue, man.
Yeah, he's terrible at placing regulations for sure. So
yeah, and he's not good at effectively going after cryptocurrencies that are, you know, like a threat to his position. So like, yeah. I'm not really sure what he's doing. He seems to me kind of like a fish that's flopping around out of water, like knowing that it's next, like it's trying to like run from a crocodile underwater, and so it like jumped up on a dock, and it's like, oh hey, look, a fish, now I can take that and fry it up and eat it or whatever. So I'm not really sure what his plan is, if this flop around fish has any goals of grandeur, or, you know, or if he's some sort of like fall boy for the system that might exist as it stands. But like, I don't think he's all that incredibly important, other than, you know, he is kind of annoying, like a little mosquito or something.
Just tiny bit, man.
That's my thoughts on Gary. As far as all the other macroeconomic stuff, it's not really my forte. I could just kind of speculate that the government's going to want to do the things that they want to do to stay in charge, and anything past that, it's like this information to me, like it's interesting, but it doesn't strike me as like I can't take any action with it. Or I suppose I could take some action with it, but it's minute compared to like the amount of things that I can do on my day-to-day life with the information that I already know, you know. So it's like I don't put a whole lot of stock into it, but it is fun to play these thought experiments.
Hey,
I will
Will.
say-
So Josh just sent us a message. Our fearless leader. He,
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he said that Gensler just called.
Breathing heavy on the phone. DR is on their radar now. Thanks a lot. Oh, okay. Well, you know,
All
Ay,
Boogie's
ay, ay.
fault.
we got friends in
Thanks,
DC.
Uh,
I know where Gary can get a whole bunch of semen from. So, like, there's plenty of things that we can do to help Gary out, and then he can probably help us out on the back end. So it's like, Gary, if you think we're the enemy,
Hey, now.
we're not. We want to get you, not ours, but we want to get you as much semen as possible, my friend. And then you could just be as happy as a clam, just sitting down in the corner, chugging away.
I think the reason that the Gary Gensler question is so hard to answer is what he's trying to do is because his track record shows completely different things. Right now, he went on that giant tirade with the SEC and labeled tons of cryptocurrencies as securities. Meanwhile, there's a video of him back in 2018 saying that all these things are not securities. So it's just like this complete 180. And you got to ask yourself, like, okay, what are the intentions? What are the forces going on here? Because this is a person that is just kind of going like all over the road. So it's hard to predict where he's going in the future.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah,
And
you know-
one of the coins that he would chill when he was teaching at the university was Algorand. As
Yep.
of recent, who has Algorand hopped on board with? Anybody know the answer to this question? I think
Wasn't it Justin Sun?
No, I think it was quote me. I think the Clinton Foundation, bro.
Oh hell no!
Kidding.
Yeah. I think it was doggone Altcoins Daily that had cited that in one of his
Oh
recent
my
videos.
god. Well, there you go, right? The old money.
Oh man, there you go. Yeah, Brown confirms it with me. It's a Clinton Foundation, bro, that he hopped on board with. So
I got a theory I'd like to kind of throw out there a little bit.
Go ahead, bro.
Send it.
Maybe perhaps, the powers to be recognize that the US dollar is going nowhere fast, and things are going to collapse here soon enough. And so able to create something that is not going to collapse, but is still keeping their own power, something like a CBDC, right? Maybe what they need to do is they need to have a world pandemic of some kind. That's actually
They're setting up for it, man. They're setting up for it. So China's setting up for it. China's setting up for it again. If you look at the headlines about
right now, and there's a bunch of things happening that makes it seem like, oh well, enable for you to get exactly what you need. We're not going to accept cash anymore. You're going to have it electronic. And we specifically enable to identify you. Number one, you have digital IDs, but then number two, enable to transact, so that way we know who you are. You need to have this very specific type of digital currency that we've created, and it's for all of the Western world. Obviously, there's going to be some people who are like, nah, let's not do that. Something like, say China, but for the majority of the world, they're going to say, hey, this is one of those spots.
Would you be suggesting a digital currency that might or might not be controlled by a central bank, something of that nature?
No, it will be controlled by a central bank.
Oh, like a central bank digital currency, perhaps.
Something
along these lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's certainly one way to keep their power intact, right? Because the CBDC is just going to be a proxy for the US dollar, and they're going to be able to print it the same exact way, right? They're going to be able to inflate it the exact same way that they do, right? And if you think the government invades your privacy now, just wait until they can track all of your transactions so easily with that CBDC, bro. Because man, that is a scary thought, and it just boggles my mind how these are things that people don't consider on a day-to-day basis, right? They're so laissez-faire about their privacy and I guess their lack of privacy, that they're willing to hand over that much control to the U.S. government. Like, hey, man, like you mean you're going to create this digital dollar that you're going to be able to use to track all of my movements and to essentially blackmail me? Sure, yeah, let's do it, bro. Let's do it.
That's the good
You
stuff.
know, the thing that Brown is saying here, the government knows what's best for you. It's like, yeah, 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 right. It, way too many people do actually believe that, and it's because their positions of power are specifically stated to be that. You know, we're going to try and help you, and there's a lot of people who want to go about their daily lives and not look into things. Now, I don't blame people for wanting to do that. You know, they want to live their own life, but unfortunately, know who a man is by giving him power, right? And
Mhm.
as soon as you give people power, they start enacting in ways that unfortunately is not not helpful to others.
Yeah.
And you need to, as a citizen of like United States or anywhere else, you need to try and keep that, you know, in mind, and then hold these people accountable, right? Because it, unfortunately, it's going to take a million people to oust one person in the government.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but we are the majority.
You know, they do say that absolute power, right, corrupts absolutely, and the founding fathers knew exactly what that meant, and that's precisely the reason why they created the three branches of government, right? So that power isn't centralized to one entity, and that's why they gave a lot of these people term limits, right? So that they can make sure that nobody's staying in there for too long. I don't know why they don't do that with judges, don't they? Right? There's no term limits for Supreme Court judges. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Well, that was part of the original checks and balances, is that everything has different term limits, and the Supreme Court has the lifetime appointments. That's part of the system. But another part that the founding fathers were trying to build into the system was that they knew power corrupts, but they also said that ambition is going to check ambition. And the idea was that you have these three separate branches that are all inevitably going to be fighting for power. Therefore, them fighting them for themselves also looks like them kind of fighting the other guys to make sure that no one gets too far ahead of each other. Unfortunately, with some of the congressional meta, we'll call it now, is you see stuff like omnibus packages, which is that people are primarily just going for re-election. So when anything actually gets done or funded, it kind of just gets slid into these things that you literally have to wheel in a wheelbarrow to Congress and say, don't read it, just vote. Like the people in those positions kind of know, like, I don't need to necessarily put my name on anything anymore. I'm kind of just by proxy giving power to other members of the government, whether it's the president with executive orders or the executive agencies that rule through regulation. There's more ways, unfortunately, than the founding fathers saw to rule on this one. But going back to my original point, which is ambition is supposed to check ambition. And that is what is going to keep things in check. However, at the same time, that means that you're going to get more ambitious people, which is where you can see things like the lifetime appointment in a Supreme Court justice really run course a lot farther than any given congressman.
Yeah.
I concur. Yeah. I think it was in 2016 when Donald Trump was running and they were competing for the Republican primary. The last two candidates was Ted Cruz and Donald Trump. Ted Cruz had stated that he wanted to go ahead and put term limits on Supreme Court justices. I don't know if you cats remember that, or if you guys follow.
That's why people hate Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
All the congressmen are like, no, you're not putting term limits on me. Even though all the American people are like, yes, term limits.
Yeah, that seems reasonable, right? That seems reasonable.
It does, but good luck trying to get those people to vote themselves out of their own office.
Well, let's take a step back. You can't pull yourself out of a tyrannical like governmental system by voting your way out of it, right? Now, I'm not saying that like violence needs to happen or whatever, but like people need to get it in their heads. Okay, so this is just my 2 cents here, but I don't think that like these problems can be solved by voting them away. There has to be some sort of like person stepping in and taking charge and like basically just screwing over. And like we thought that was going to be Trump, right? We thought that there was going to be this crazy cool like drainage of the swamp happening when he got up there into that very White House and just like he's going to hang out and he's going to fire a bunch of people and the world's going to change and we're all going to live happily ever after. And it's like, oh well, we bought some oil, some prices went down, the economy went booming, and we started pulling out of Afghanistan, and like some good things were happening, but like not a lot of like the system as it exists and continues to persist like changed. So this is just something for people to consider is like, does voting work? Is voting an effective use of your time? right? So this is just my 2 cents, take it for what it's worth. But I don't think that like sending people up to Capitol Hill to go talk to a camera about some things that they don't actually mean in a place full of a bunch of people that like they just vote on a bunch of bullshit anyways. Like, I don't think that it solves a whole lot of problems. The best way to like fix things, is starts at the local, the grassroots level, the stuff that's like within your actual sphere of influence. Like, I can go out right now and I can go talk to the I mean, I don't know where they are, who they are, right? But I can go talk to the local frickin' education board here down in Cedar Hill in Dallas, right? And I can say, hey, this, that, and the other changes need to be made. Or I can go and find the sheriff and I can say, hey, bro, like, what's going on? Yada, 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 yada. But what I can't do is I can't walk my ass over to the White House lawn and say, like, listen here, Gary. No, he doesn't chill out in the White House. Wherever the fuck Gary Gensler works at, right? Because I doubt he works at the White House. He probably works at the obelisk. I bet you Gary Gensler's office is right up at the top of the fucking obelisk.
I think Gary Gensler is still actually out of the FTX mansion in the Bahamas.
Oh, that could be.
Bro, and then at the top of his obelisk, there's the Eye of Sauron.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good, Agent J.
So to add on to that, Will, if you think about it, technically speaking, our system is actually working exactly how it's supposed to be working, and it still is. So why are we in the position we're in? Well, it's because the people are the ones who vote everything in, right?
Yes.
And so if you convince people to go a different direction for whatever reason, right? Then, and you're continually doing that same direction because you're a bunch of influential humans, then all of a sudden things are going to start changing. And maybe the people don't quite, kind of like with taxes, right? Raise taxes on the rich. Well, that's one of the biggest fucking lies ever. You can't tax the rich because they're just going to buy more assets and then do more things for society. And then they're just going to get more write-offs. And so the only people you're actually taxing are the middle, middle people.
And you know what's funny? Adding to what you stated, I actually heard a Democrat say that it's a good thing we're getting more IRS agents because they're going to go after the rich. You know damn well these IRS agents are going to hunt down the middle class, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so I maintain that our country is working perfectly fine. I just think we got too many people just believing whatever it is that they hear. And this brings up a very interesting thought about AI now, because AI, we've straight up already have AI like news reports of certain people saying certain things, and it was just all made up, right? So I think here pretty soon, within the next couple of years at least, right, we're going to start running into a dilemma of truth. Nobody's going to know anything if anything is true anymore. And so what I would say to people is just take a step back, verify things, and don't lose your mind, guys.
Well, here's something that I wanted to add on to that. And you know, Will kind of put this thought in my head when he spoke about Donald Trump and how he was supposed to drain the swamp, right? I think Trump started he pushed the first domino, right? I think the candidates that we have in this next election cycle, especially like look at Vivek, right? Look at Vivek, look at Robert Kennedy, right? These guys are people that no matter which side of them, like if one of these guys takes the reins, right? You can guarantee that the people that they're going to appoint in their cabinets and then the leaders that are going to follow them are going to be more in line with the mindset that's removed from how government has been run up until this point, right? You know, like you're slowly but surely moving away from the old idea of what being a conservative or being a Republican is, and now you're transitioning more towards the mindset of somebody like a Vivek Ramaswamy, right? So I think Donald Trump, he was there to push the first domino, right? Because nobody wanted to do it, right? Like the legacy politicians like the Bush family, the Clinton families, the Kennedy family, like they didn't want to push that domino, right? They wanted to maintain the status quo. I think Donald Trump's role, and I think what his role is going to be continuing to be if he does get elected again during this next election cycle, is to keep pushing more dominoes further down so that the people further down along the line who are going to be in those positions of power actually make the changes that we're talking about now.
No, I concur with you, Agent J. I mean, one of the things that I do note about Donald Trump, he is a boomer at the end of the day. He's not a Gen Xer or a millennial. So some of the thoughts that he does have are rather prehistoric in the sense of because he is a boomer at the end of the day. But with that stated, I did notice that he was there to break the ice and break the constant same thing that we always get from politicians by pushing the media and by pushing politics to its limit, to a point where people see the realities of what's going on. Yeah. In other words, he can be used as a stepping stone for somebody like Ramaswamy or a Rand Paul and things of that nature.
Donald Trump really shattered their perception of what was going on. I know the original thing was to go drain the swamp. I'd argue the guy tried to drain the swamp, but then people just didn't realize like how hard the machine is going to push back whenever you try to topple it. That's why you see in the run right now, you see that he's looking to do the Schedule F, try to lay off and fire as many people as physically possible. Even then, Donald Trump does understand to a bit that you just don't touch certain things like politics, which is like entitlement reforms. Unfortunately, because he understands that and he understands the voting bloc, that hasn't been touched and it wasn't even talked about in his first term. But you do see people like Vivek Ramaswamy, who I think is very much that a bit of that populist push, which is that you can see there's differentiations now between the new and the old systems of thinking politically. Previously, it was kind of like right versus left, Democrat versus Republicans, but now it's starting to look more like it's almost establishment versus non-establishment folks. So that's why when you look at the Republican primaries right now, you see Vivek Ramaswamy kind of standing out on his own, and you see other folks like Nikki Haley, who are definitely people that are trying to perpetuate the existing system. And you're definitely going to get rubbed from the existing system if you try to perpetuate it. And you're absolutely going to get fought if you try to topple it, which even the Republican National Convention, the lady who's in charge, he was so pissed off at Vivek when she told her that she should get up here and resign after getting trounced in those primaries. So
yeah, I think her name was Ronna McDaniels.
That is correct.
McDaniels. So freaking pissed that he was calling her out. He even told her, like, come on stage and go ahead and freaking quit your job, dude. Because dude, she is horrible at picking these freaking doggone swamp politicians over and over again. Now, a lot of people don't know this, that her actual non-maiden name or her original name prior to marriage is actually Romney.
Yo.
Yep. It all ties back together.
Man.
Look at that.
It was a classic, man. Classic Rhino.
Yeah.
I will say the Ronna McDaniel thing, when she did kind of get caught on like a bit of a hot mic. It wasn't exactly a hot mic, but it was a bunch of people in the audience at a debate hearing her say this. She was like, Vivek is an asshole. He's never getting another cent from us. One of the things that Vivek went on the PBD podcast and talked about, he was like, this shows you the mentality of these people. Ronna McDaniel is in a non-profit head position. Therefore, that is not her money. She cannot just do whatever she wants with it. She has a responsibility, a fiduciary duty, you might say, to do what best is with that money for the people that give it to her. And it's kind of like the people that are in power think that they can sit in power and wield it however they want, even though the original intention of it is not to be done that way.
Yep. No, absolutely. And you know what I like about what's happening within the political space now is that we have transitioned so far away from how, for example, whenever you would go into these election cycles, right? The way that we were able to consume the media in prior iterations was all through legacy, right? Because we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have like inserts name of social media platform here. But now you have, because we have all these different outlets, you have candidates like Kennedy, like Vivek, who are actually making the rounds, not just on podcasts. They're having Twitter Spaces. They're doing podcast audio. They're jumping on people's YouTube channels, so we can actually see and hear their ideas of how they want to move within the country, like what direction they want the country to move in, and we can hear those ideas in a lot more in not like 1 minute sound bites, right? Usually that's what you would hear during a presidential debate, right? You have a 1 minute time limit to explain your idea and then it's the next guy's turn, right? But that's not how it's done now, right? In a presidential debate, Vivek might have 1 minute to explain something, but he's going to go on PBD's podcast. I think he was on the Nelk Boys podcast, right? You know, he's going on to Tim Pool, like he's going to go on Joe Rogan, so we can actually hear his ideas in a more fleshed out manner, as opposed to just them taking shots at each other for 60 seconds each during a presidential election debate, right?
You got to admit, though, that was so much fun during 2016 with him up there with Hillary Clinton. Oh, that was so
dude. That was like WWE on the freaking debate.
I love it.
That was fun, and it's funny because Javier Milei in Argentina used the same plays Donald Trump did, bro, by being extremely flamboyant, bro. Because people, a lot of younger generations, they want to see the live TV shows now, man. They want to see the freaking doggone reality TV, and Trump brings that to the freaking table. You know what I mean? Now, Jay, I'm glad you cited that about Ramaswamy, that he went on to PBD. He did state on the debate stage, bro, that there's no reason why ABC News or CNN or MSNBC or Fox should be hosting this debate. Nobody watches their TradCon freaking news stations anymore. Everybody's either on Joe Rogan, on PBD, on Fresh and Fit, and on the Young Turks, and all these other freaking YouTube channels, which will probably get farther views because nobody really does the trad thing anymore, bro.
As much as media hates it, I'm pretty sure, like, at least in the top 5, you have Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Fresh and Fit. All people they absolutely hate. Independent media has been one of the biggest boons for the 21st century and one of the biggest threats to legacy media and the existing system. So that's why they hate it so much, and they try to smear it.
Well, it's also interactional, though, right?
Absolutely.
It's like we interact, and so it's a heck of a lot funner. I mean, everybody, is this not a lot funner than just watching some news channel telling you things?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, we just had so many jokes flying around, and then when we post them up and start laughing at them, you know, it's like, it's a great time, guys.
Bro, the people that are going to lead this country in the future are going to realize that they have to leverage social media. Right. They have to leverage social media. There's absolutely no way that you can reach the American people and get your thoughts out there in a better outlet. Right. There's absolutely no way. So if you're going to be somebody who's like part of traditional politics, where the only thing that you're going to do is you're going to do your campaign trail, you're going to put up ads on a billboard, you're going to go on these legacy media outlets, and you're going to wait on a debate stage to explain yourself, you're not going to get traction with the American people, right? Because like the people that are going to be in the voting booths are you know, the Gen Xers, right? The millennials, the Gen Zs.
That is correct. That is correct.
Even
so,
I go for it, buddy.
Go ahead. Go for it, man.
All right, I was gonna say, even one of the things that you saw with Ron DeSantis is that for a long time, his media team basically had a statement that nobody goes on independent media. Everything has to be pre-approved. And for the longest time, the PBD podcast talked about this. They were like, yeah, we have an open invite to this guy to come out and chat with us, but he just says no repeatedly. And then finally the guy goes on. However, at that point, honestly, it might just be too little too late.
Yeah.
So like independent media has such a force.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm assuming all of you guys saw that episode. Fucking PBD gifted him. Didn't he gift them some boots or something?
Yeah, pulls them out and puts them right on the table.
That was hilarious, bro. I was like, oh man, I can't. Yo, PBD's ballsy, bro.
I'm not understanding the joke. What do you mean he pulled out some boots? Did you guys elaborate?
So one of the rumors going around the political sphere is that because Trump is so tall, Ron DeSantis is wearing like shoe inserts to make himself seem taller. And then people have been pointing it out for a while, and they've been like posting pictures of like, here he is next to his wife. Here's his wife in heels, and then he's also magically the same height as well. So it's like,
yeah, they're
dun dun dun.
You do understand that the major voting bloc for America is mostly female, and what do you think they're going to vote for, bro? They're going to vote for the taller individual just for the fact that he's taller.
Oh boy, here we go.
It plays a big part
in that subject.
I was going to say the primary voting bloc is old people, but you're not wrong with that analysis either, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even then, right? Like being taller, being like physically imposing. If you're going to put yourself out there as a candidate to lead the freest, the best country in the world, like just having that kind of stature, tall, physically fit, imposing, people are immediately going to, oh, okay, if shit hits the fan and we go into war, that's the guy that I want to see in the front lines. Which begs the question. I don't know how Sleepy Joe got.
Yeah, well, I concur with you, Agent.
Are we
I
really
concur
trying to
with
get
you, Jay.
demonetized? That's how we do it, Jay.
I-
Easy there, bud.
This-
It's not
this
even
is
Boogie
so
trying to get us
interesting.
kicked off.
But-
It's you now.
You guys cannot beat the fact of getting freaking Vladimir Putin on top of a freaking horse with no shirt on, bro, doing judo moves and shit. That is
Riding
pretty
a
damn
bear.
masculine, son.
Oh my god,
That meme
bro.
was the best meme I've ever seen in my life. Riding a bear and everything.
And this is why fucking voting doesn't work, is because it just turns into a goddamn popularity contest, because every fucking idiot who has a pulse and a breath, or even sometimes not even those, gets to cast their vote, and it's all considered equally. When this country was started, in order to vote, you had to have some fucking skin in the game. You had to be a landowner. You had to be like a contributing member of like the thing. Like not just everybody fucking voted. It was like the top people, whatever you want to call that, right? Like people who were like legitimately invested. Once you start getting like, oh yeah, I can vote. I'll just fill out this little packet thing. Like I don't know what the answer is, but I definitely don't think that everyone should vote. That's my 2 cents, man. Because you guys are talking about fucking
Historically,
tallness.
that's the way it was. You needed to own land in order to vote.
Yeah,
Because if you owned land, you wouldn't vote other people's land away.
correct.
Also, it shows that you live in the place that you're voting.
Yes.
That's another important factor.
Here's the
Damn,
Nate,
some
what you
shots
got?
over here, bro.
Nate, what you
Here's
got?
the other thing that they're starting to do too is digital IDs, right? If you do not have a digital ID, then you do not have rights anymore. That is something that is very well being talked about, and in the I believe it was the WEF. They created a little, like a whole what do you call
Are you
it?
talking about WorldCoin, where they scan your
little
retina and they
pamphlet?
give you crypto stuff? And it's like,
Yeah, that type of
nice
thing. But
try.
it's like
You're
it's
not
like their
getting my
roadmap.
eyeballs.
Yeah, they kind of failed that one, but it's like the roadmap of what they're going to do. They actually hint at the fact that if you do not have a digital ID, that you will not be actually a part of either the country or like be able to participate in things. This is a major this is a major control thing that really has me worried, and it's to the point now where it's not like if it's going to happen, but when. I guess the if in this particular case is like how they're going to roll it out, right? So for me personally, I'm sitting here kind of racking my brain trying to figure out what am I going to be doing when this stuff starts coming out, and how am I going to work this? With that being
I mean,
said,
that's why we like crypto, right? Because what crypto stands for is completely antithetical to how these people think. They want completely centralized. Well, crypto allows us to move in such a way that if we didn't want to be a part of that system, we can do so, right? Because they can they're not going to be able to control your Bitcoin, right? If that Bitcoin exists in your cold wallet, they're not going to be able to tell you when and how you spend that money. They're not going to be able to, right? So with that being said, I was trying to find a way to kind of like circle it back to crypto. I'll let you know we have a little bit of time left here, and we do have a few interesting articles that we want to share with you. And since we were already on that pretty damn bullish track, Zenith, I believe it was you who wanted to share the article about the rising M2 supply and the direct correlation that it has in regards to Bitcoin's bull markets. So you want to go ahead and share the article with us, brother?
Sure thing. So this article comes to us from Cointelegraph. Basically what it is another person tried to analyze macroeconomic factors and see how it correlates to Bitcoin bull and bear cycles. This one specifically says that there is a large correlation between an expanding M2 money supply and a bull market for cryptocurrency, specifically when it starts outpacing the NASDAQ. So for folks that don't know what the M2 money supply is, that is not like every dollar in existence, but it's the overall like theoretical money supply created through one of our favorite topics, fractional reserve banking. So when does fractional reserve banking start increasing money at higher rates? Possibly when there's lower interest rates? You would be correct. Which means that there historically has been correlation between the M2 money supply, aka the money printer from the government, kind of, and the crypto markets going. This is just kind of one more data point in the already growing list of things that we show that whenever whenever faith in the dollar and whenever the ease of access to dollars goes down, the value of crypto itself goes up, more like the desire for it. You can be the head of BlackRock and call it a flight to quality, or you can just understand that when you devalue one thing relative to everything else, that value is going to go up.
Absolutely. Hey, if I could share the screen real quick here, because I wanted to give the folks at home a little bit of a visual, and the article actually has a graph that I wanted to share here with the audience. Can you guys see that? Let me know.
Can you
Yes,
zoom in a
sir.
little bit?
We got a complete
Let's
visual.
see.
man.
Zoom. Okay, let's see. How can I zoom? Oh man,
There you go.
that's not. Like, I'm trying to. Usually, you're able to right click and. Oh, how do I zoom in, guys? Any?
That's
Give
good
me.
enough.
Give me. That's good.
It's
Okay.
functional.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So if you could see here on the chart right here, this blue line is your global M2 money supply, right? And then the yellow line here is the price for Bitcoin. Now, what can we see with this graph here? You can see that every single time we have an increase in that M2 money supply has corresponded with Bitcoin's bull runs, right? Like, check this out. Over here around 2021, the most recent. Look what happens when the M2 money supply hits that parabolic increase, right? You can see Bitcoin's price action doing the exact same thing. So what do we know? We know that there's a tendency for this to happen during presidential election cycles, which is 2024. What happens? Well, during that year, what tends to happen is the Federal Reserve goes into quantitative easing, right? So what does that mean? We're probably going to most likely to see a slow decreasing of interest rates, of the money printer starting to come on, and just overall more quantitative easing, which is going to be in stark contrast to what Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve has been doing over the past year and a half, right? Which is they've been rising interest rates to get a strangle, like get a hold on what's been happening with inflation. And so if we're to expect the pattern to repeat itself, and that every single election year, what's going to happen? You're going to have a span of time where the Federal Reserve goes into quantitative easing, and we can expect that to happen within the next year. And so what happens when the M2 money supply increase, when the Federal Reserve executes its quantitative easing protocols, Bitcoin is going to follow suit, which is going to be that parabolic rise in price. There we go.
Fabulous, son.
Yeah, man. Okay, the last article that I wanted to go over here with you guys is 1 second here. Let me share my screen real quick.
Is this the one from CoinDesk?
Yes, sir. Here we go. Okay, so this article I've alluded to earlier, and we actually spoke a little bit about this during our last episode. Is that you can see here that Bitcoin supply that's been inactive for at least a year hits a record high of 70%. Now, I want to draw your attention here once again to this graph right here. The black line, right, is the Bitcoin that is held within wallets that have not moved for a year or more, right? And you can see here, this yellow line is the price of Bitcoin. And this is around November 2023. You can see that when we hit that parabolic move, right, when Bitcoin moved towards $40,000, we actually also hit a new yearly high of the amount of Bitcoin that's been sitting in those long-term wallets that have not moved. What does that mean? It means that the overwhelming majority of supply of Bitcoin that's with it, like that's in the market, has not actually belongs to long-term holders that are not willing to part with this Bitcoin, right? Because they have not sold, they have not traded, they have not moved that Bitcoin in their wallets for more than a year now. Which means if they are going to move it, they're probably going to move at more than a 2x, right? And so what can you do with this information as an investor? It means that if we do get any kind of pullback, that is going to be short-lived, and the pullback is probably not going to be as severe. Like we spoke about this earlier, anytime that the market gives you an opportunity to DCA more, right? Take it, right? We're most likely not going to see anything below 30,000 Bitcoin again this year, precisely because of that on-chain metric that I just shared with you guys, right? These long-term holders, they are not willing to part with their Bitcoin. They do not want to take the risk of a 10 to 20% gain, right? They don't want to take that risk to the downside because they might lose out on that risk to the upside, which is, as opposed to getting 20 to 20% gain, you're missing out on a 3, 4, 5x when Bitcoin inevitably heads to $100,000 probably sometime late next year or early 2025.
To quote a wise man in a bad idea t-shirt, price is just a collective narrative that we tell ourselves. The other half of this article talks about the idea that the reason you see this high rate of people holding Bitcoin a long time is that they genuinely believe price is going up. And additionally, on the future side of the market, if you want to look at the open interest, it's also been going up very steadily as well. If you remember, about a month or two ago, we had a stream talking about how the futures market heavily collapsed as we made that drop down to about 25,000 for a cycle low. That was actually lower than we are right now in the open interest for the futures market. So not only is long-term holders believing that we're going higher, but we also have a lot of the speculators believing we're going higher as well. And not only do they believe that, they've put their money where their mouth is, and it's actually it's in the market. So
yeah, I concur, man. I completely think of MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, bro, when I read this article. That's what I think about. And you know that fool ain't dumping, man. Know what I mean?
Nope.
You know, I wonder how many of these Bitcoin holders are institutions that are building things on Bitcoin.
Yeah, in the closet institutions, you mean?
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to disclose that they own BTC because they know that's going to end up rallying the market. It would not surprise me if we found out that Disney owns BTC and in large amounts.
That'd be crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I believe it.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we know that they partnered with Polygon, right? With
they
Matic.
did.
And so if they're holding, I'm assuming because you partner with them, you probably believe in that asset class, right? You probably believe in that company. And so if you're holding Matic, it wouldn't be such an unreasonable assumption to make that you're probably also holding Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
That's actually a very, very good point, Jay, because TradFi usually diversifies, man. And why wouldn't they diversify into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then their crazy coin would be Matic? You're actually
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, Matic, but I would think more like Solana. Solana seems to be very friendly with TradFi and institutions and all that right now. It kind of seems like
for sure.
Any diversity, obviously they're going to go Bitcoin straight to Ethereum, but then it seems to be Solana because Solana is basically just all VCs, right? Venture capitalists who are already in in the traditional finance world. And to add on to what you said there, Boogie, they actually financial advisors for these large hedge funds and other institutions are saying, hey, you need to put anywhere from 1% to 5% into Bitcoin and able to spread out a little bit more. This is a legitimate thing that needs to be done. And that's the reason why the case for 10 trillion market cap, or 15 trillion, or anywhere from like 8 to 15 technically, is a thing right now, because these financial advisors are saying this is something that you need to do.
Yeah, it would only make sense. Now imagine when all of TradFi, and I think it's probably going to happen this cycle, bro, when their advisors tell them, hey, man, you need to put 5% of your portfolio or 3% of your portfolio, hell, 1% of your portfolio into Bitcoin, bro. Dude, you're going to see Bitcoin rip to the upside. It would not surprise me, man, if we break that barrier of 160,000 by the end of 2025, homie. That would not surprise me.
I personally, I'm looking at 125. After that, it's like I'm basically going to be taking out just about everything I've got. But I think 150 is going to be your absolute best. And there's going to be people saying, 250,000, 500,000 Bitcoin. If you start hearing that, don't believe it. Because if you think about it, when everybody gets pumped up about something, right? 100K Bitcoin, you hit 69 and then you're done.
Yeah. Rob Paul does that a lot, man. Rob Paul, he did last cycle. He did cite Ethereum at 36.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I'm gonna have a little bit of a pushback there. I know that people tend to make the argument like, okay, Bitcoin, the market cap for Bitcoin is way too high, and in order for you to go from like the last all-time high, which is 69,000, all the way to like some people like Arthur Hayes, I think said something along the lines of $250,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, I think Kathy Woods was like $500,000 Bitcoin right within this cycle. Now I know a lot of people make the market cap argument as part of the reason why they don't think Bitcoin's going to go up that high, but you also have to consider the fact that maybe if we were in a very similar cycle that we've had over the last 10 years or so, where the space as a whole is still very niche, that might be a good argument. But the thing that I'm considering is once you get everybody who exists in the middle of the bell curve into this market, then I think it's sky's the limit there, right? Because you're not only are you going to have a higher demand for Bitcoin, you have a supply that's inevitably going to start becoming deflationary, right? Because right now it's inflationary up until we mine the last Bitcoin. But at some point it's going to become deflationary. Why? Because people are going to lose their private keys. They're gonna send their Bitcoin into the ether. All that stuff is going to be lost forever. So there's going to be a degree of deflationary characteristic to Bitcoin as a whole, right? And the demand is going to remain relatively high. And so I think when you take all those things into consideration, the amount of people jumping into the market, a $250,000 Bitcoin during this cycle, I don't think is completely out of the question, to be quite honest, right? But obviously we have to cross that bridge when we get there. But me personally, I don't think it's out of the question because of the I don't know the word that I'm looking for, like the fervor, right? The like people are going to be maniacal, right? When they see price go up that fast.
It's going to be an interesting cycle, that's for sure. And I think this cycle is going to be the introduction to traditional finance to Bitcoin, right? The ability for people to be able to get in without it being like, oh, what am I actually doing? These ETFs are going to be a major part of that. But I think next cycle is going to be that cycle when we finally do have the mass adoption, right? So I think this cycle is just simply going to be, I think it might leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths too. There are some theories out there that institutions like BlackRock are going to dump on all of our heads. I don't think they can actually do that, because if they do that, they have lost all their customers with these ETFs. And this is like, Fidelity and everybody else as well, right? And ARK. So I think that they will not be dumping on our heads just simply because they will lose everybody if they do that. People are already scared enough of cryptocurrencies as is. And if we have another, dumping on people's heads to that scale, then the next cycle after that is going to be, oh, not this crypto thing again. And people just aren't going to buy in. And I think they're building. I think what these institutions are doing is they're more focused on, instead of just straight up getting X's out of their investments, I think what they're doing is they're trying to build for the future of getting more people to X the amount of money that they have or invested in even more. Because when you do come to these TradFi, these traditional financial institutions, they don't look at like, hey, 2-3 years. They look at like 10-20 years down the road, and at the very minimum like 5. And so we're looking at like a 2-cycle deal, right? That's how these financial advisors are thinking. So I don't think we're going to have a dump. I think we are only going to be pumping. And obviously we'll have a bear market, but I think that's going to be other stuff.
So you're saying, Nate, that that BlackRock and Vanguard, they're all going to be the new series of diamond hands.
I think they will be. There will be some profit taking, but I think they also are treading that line of, we have a lot of customers and we want the customers not to have bad tastes in their mouth. So that way more come in later.
So like, what about like fiduciary responsibility? You know, should the price start plummeting? Like, do you think BlackRock would have the stones to tell its stockholders, like, hey, you guys just got to chill out and wait for another fucking, like, I don't know, 4 years, and then price go up again? You know, do you think they got the stones for that?
Yeah, and that's the reason why they say 1 to 5% and not 25%.
They're going to have disclaimers all over the place, guaranteed.
Yeah, think about what they're doing right now when it comes to tech stocks. Tech stocks are volatile, and they will let their investors know this is very volatile and it does drop a lot, and you'd be surprised at it. But it has a long-term tendency to go up. And if they start showing these investors, if you look at it, this is the best performing asset of all time, other than maybe AI, then yes, they're going to be like, you know what? Okay, it's extremely volatile, but only 1% or 5% of my portfolio is going to be in this. I can take that risky bet, and they will.
BlackRock's going to be like part of the Tang Gang. BlackRock's going to be buying up Pepe. BlackRock's going to be holding Doge for all these X transactions. BlackRock's going to be the new diamond hands, bro.
You know what? I'm going to say it officially here. So
you heard it here
I
first.
actually have a theory on, first they're going to have a Bitcoin ETF, and they're going to have an Ethereum ETF, and then they're going to start making mutual funds of nothing but crypto coins. And I actually have a list of these coins that
a basket.
I have a list of these coins that I think that they are going to include. My top 3 picks is Solana and Matic, and then AVAX. Those are my top 3 coins. So not financial advice, but
what are you talking about, son? What happened to Pepe and Shib?
Well,
I still own a lot of SHIB.
I'm going to try to read between the lines.
I'm still holding the SHIB that I bought when I first got into crypto, bro. I have not dumped an ounce of it, bro.
Let's have it like, what was it, 100,000x or whatever it did. Let's have it do that again.
I'll try to read between the lines of Nate's prediction for the ETF basket. I don't know about AVAX too much myself, but you got Solana, which is a Silicon Valley-based blockchain, and have Matic, which is the Disney blockchain, and then I'm sure AVAX is somewhere in there with some sort of institutional support. So
AVAX, it has a tendency to be actually gaming. It's going to be one of your main gamers. And so if you want to like try and categorize it, you got your major altcoin that everybody's behind, which is Solana. And then you have your NFTs and stuff like that, which is Matic or Polygon. And then you have your gaming sector, which is going to be Avalanche.
Bro, I'm surprised nobody mentioned it. There's one coin in there that I guarantee you is going to be part of every single one of these mutual funds. That's XRP, bro.
Yeah.
That's XRP.
Read my mind.
So there's an argument between XRP and Chainlink, because essentially they're kind of trying to do the same thing. And they have actually, the WEF has actually come out saying that they do prefer Chainlink, and they talked about it. So
well, if they want something, if they need something that connects all of these different layer ones, then yes, I think Chainlink would be a good part of that basket, man. But when we talk about these different assets, and we consider all the partnerships that they're having, a lot of these guys, when they say we have a partnership with X company, it's like a lot of people have partnerships with this company, right? Like, what are they doing to promote you? Like, are they actually using your blockchain? And the answer is, for most of these assets, they're not. That's not the case with XRP, right? If you look at the amount of projects that XRP is building, the amount of partnerships that they're creating, that they've been doing, even when the case was still ongoing with them, it blows everybody else out the water. And so, yeah, I think Chainlink will be part of that basket. I think XRP will be part of that basket. Obviously, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I think Solana will be a part of the basket if they survive. Which I think there's a good argument that they will. And then eventually, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to create a mutual fund filled with all of the Richard Hart ecosystem tokens when he kicks Gary Gensler's ass. So,
would it be possible to create a crypto token that like is the crypto itself is a wallet that owns like a certain mix of other cryptos? It might be possible. Like a staking pool or something. I don't know. Do you know how like PHUX does the, I know, great name, does the weighted staking pools? It would be interesting to see if they could maybe like try something with that. So instead of like having to go to a staking pool, you just got to buy this token and it represents a portion of this pool that is weighted as the ETF basket.
You're talking about the balancer forks.
Yeah, something like that. Just an idea.
Yes, sir. Yep. No, I mean, I wouldn't put it out of the question. The technology is forever evolving, and somebody's going to think of it, right? Because it seems like the obvious next step. What do we do after the ETF? Oh, some mutual funds, right? It's like the S&P 500. Like, here's a basket of tokens that we think are going to do well. If you don't want to spend the time thinking and researching it, we've done all that work for you. Just put your money in this mutual fund of X, Y, and Z crypto asset, and then just watch your money grow. But we'll see, man. Definitely exciting times. Boogie, did you want to?
Wait till you get a Zen ETF, bro.
Nah, man. What the hell? What is wrong with you? Come on now.
That ETF goes down and to the right.
Yeah, just down and to the right, man. Just makes life difficult for a lot of people. Fucks up the GUI whenever there's something new. Whenever they're releasing something new.
Dude,
for stock traders, they look at
the bro, and Zen does well, bro. I'm gonna talk so much shit. I'm gonna have so much fun, bro.
That's fair. That's fair. But just saying, like, you know how there's the volatility calculator for the stock market, the VIX. They're gonna have to have a gas fee getting jacked up by Zen calculator.
That already exists, my friend. That already exists. It's called Zen Turbo.
Well, we're gonna look at it now.
I am serious, homie.
Shit,
you guys said something. I cut you off. You were gonna ask me something.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask because it seemed like you had something to add to that thought about XRP.
No, just that. I mean, I just wanted to make that random Zen comment. You know what I'm saying. Gotcha.
Well, on that Zen note, I think we're gonna go ahead and close it out here for the evening. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Boogie, thank you very much for giving us some of your time and talking shop with us today, giving us some of your insight for TA. Could you please tell everybody where they can find you, what you got planned over the horizon? Oh, also one more thing I wanted to ask. I remember a while back that you and Miguel were working like on a Spanish version, like to help Hexagon and stuff. Like, what's going on with that? Is that still something that you're working on? Like, what's the plans for it?
Yeah, we're still pending to talk about it more, but we did do a couple of Tex-Mex streams. That means English and Spanish. You know what I mean?
Love that, man.
So yeah. Oh yeah. Dropping the alpha on my channel. I don't know if you could drop it on the private chat. I'm not logged in. It is. Let me go ahead and just share my doggone link tree if you can.
For sure. We'll drop your links in the chat.
We have it in the banner down below.
Fabulous. It is US crypto _boogie. That's how you get me here on YouTube.
Wonderful. And what do you got planned over the next quarter, over the coming few months? Like share that with the people so that they can keep up with what you're doing, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to continue hitting up the charts, man. Continuing my technical analysis and things of that nature. I do want to do a stream with Sloth. We did talk about it, so I will probably be hopping on board with him soon enough. I also want to hit up you, Zenith, and as well as you, Agent J, where we're going to do some boring ass TA. I think we can make it fun. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Combining that Mexican Filipino power. You know what I mean?
Hey, man. I'm down for it. You know me, man. And any opportunity that I get to do TA with you, I'm always down for it, bro. So you let me know the time. We'll make it
Nate,
happen.
I look forward to your channel, man. I can't wait to check it out. Will, you and I have to pop some rounds sometime. Zenith, you and I got to talk shit to each other, bro.
Yeah, and Jay, we have that Monster 2024 stream that you guys are all doing with TA and creating all that. So what's kind of going on with that?
That's yeah, we're still gonna iron out the details with Josh. It's just one of those things that we got planned over the horizon because we got a whole bunch of stuff coming soon. So when we have that a bit more ironed out, we will certainly let you know. Will, how about you, brother? Where can people find you? What you got planned over the next few months? Let the family know, man.
So, excuse me. You guys can find me at linktree/Will Stevenson, spelled exactly like it sounds. It is down in the description below. For now, I'm chilling out over in Texas for the near foreseeable future. So I'm rolling up and down in between, all the way down to pretty much San Antonio up to Dallas, going up and down I-35 a lot. So if you guys are in that area, if you're off the I-35 corridor, hit me up and we will definitely, I'll scorp a meetup. You can hit me up on Telegram is probably the best one. And then Instagram after that. I'm sort of kind of on Twitter occasionally. But that's the deal. There's several Hexicans I got to go meet. And like you were saying, Boogie, we definitely got to go pop some rounds off, man. I'm going to be in Texas for a while, so I'll figure out in the private chat or in the after show. Actually, stick around in the green room when we end the stream, and we'll talk details and stuff and see what we can do. But for the folks wondering what I'm up to, it's just rolling around Texas, cruising around. I'm still trying to put together the Hexican meetup Excel spreadsheet. So if you're a Hexican, you want to meet other Hexicans, then you just go to bit.ly/hex_meetup_template. And there you can find this super fantastic Excel document that will basically say like, hey, this is where, Hexicans are in random parts of the country. And you can put your information in there, how people can contact you, like what part of the world you're in, if you wish. You're obviously not required to put in any more information than you wish, and just, the only thing I ask is don't be a cunt in there. Don't go deleting other people's stuff, and don't like change around things. But yeah, this is just a way for Hexicans to meet each other. And until I figure out a better way to do this via like Telegram rooms or some other thing, that's what I got for now. So yeah, those are the things that I am working on. Mr. Nate, what do you got going on in the near future, bro?
Well, again, this Tuesday, I've got my master's license testing for pest control. It'll be nice. I should have taken it a while ago, just never thought about it because I'm too busy doing crypto things. A lot funner, not gonna lie. But then I guess Tuesday after that, as per Will, I guess that's when I'll go ahead and do my first ever stream. It's going to be about the coronal mass extinction event that could very well easily happen. It's not necessarily deadly to humans, but if our society is predicated almost entirely on technology, well, that is very deadly to technology. And there's a very real possibility that because it only takes a good 8 minutes to hit us, and we would have 2 minutes warning, and that's what the new satellite they're sending and almost to the sun as of currently, launched in 2018. There may or may not be a way for us to unplug things before, well, we lose it all. So thank you very much, Brown. I appreciate that. That's definitely something. It'll be nice. It is a raise automatically just for having a license for sure. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, look forward to it Tuesday. I've compiled a whole lot of stuff. It's going to be a brand new thing for me. It's obviously solo, but I will say there's going to be a lot of what it is that I'm trying to look for with this type of streaming is I specifically want to talk with you guys. I want to put together something of a presentation of a topic, of an idea, and I just want to hear your guys' thoughts, and I want to talk specifically with you. So hopefully you'll watch it, maybe learn a few things here and there. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. That's 100%. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I guess I'll try and make it for next Tuesday. So.
Nate, very much good luck on your test. I'm also studying for a professional certification test myself, and these things can be a huge pain in the butt. But if you check off that box, it's definitely more money in the future. But yeah, Moonpill Rational Optics is right. Crypto comes first because these are life-changing gains for sure. All right. I'm Zenith. You can find me at Hexio Space Force on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I am also the guy that runs book club here. This week, we are going to be covering The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey. This is actually the recommendation that we got from RG3. I already had a chance to finish this bad boy, and it is very good. I think it's very relevant for people in the crypto space because there's kind of a beautiful irony, which is when we're creating trustless systems, how do you trust people to make, or even how to be crypto influencers and be trustworthy yourselves. So we're doing that. And then additionally, after that one, we have a very special guest, a very, what's what I'm looking for, renowned author. Her name is Christine Stevenson. She wrote a fantastic book called How to Avoid Trouble with the IRS. And we are even fortunate enough to have her come on the stream. Will, what you got there, bud?
Shame on me forgetting that we're going to be interviewing my mother as well as Stephen Bates, the author of the other book that I've been shilling for a while, Securing Wallets. So yeah, Zenith, you're absolutely right. Oh, there I go, dropping
Book
things.
club's going wild right now. We got a lot of
club
stuff
is
on the docket
going
coming up.
Motherfucking wild. So we're interviewing this author, Stephen L. Bates of Securing Wallets. Buy his book on Amazon if you have any questions about best practices and stuff. He does cybersecurity. And then yes, we will also be interviewing my mother, who is a enrolled agent, and does stuff like in conjunction with helping people square their taxes away for the IRS. And she mostly focuses on small business owners and things of that like. So if that's you, then you'll definitely want to get her book and give it a read. And also, she's my mom, so she's pretty cool. So I definitely have a. Yep. But
If
yeah,
you're a fan of this
you're
guy,
absolutely
you'll
right.
probably be a fan of her.
Yeah, she's pretty neat.
Lastly,
she
for the
loves you
channel,
again.
the DGen Roundtable is absolutely booked out when it comes to guests for the rest of 2024 or 2023, excuse me. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And then additionally, this 2024 TA stream is going to be fantastic. We're looking to get Axis Alive, Toby One, and assuming this man doesn't get banned again, we're hoping to have Boogie as well. So maybe look for his third YouTube channel on that one. But yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming up on the future. Massive thanks to Boogie for coming on the stream, and this has been a blast, dude.
Hey, thank you, Zenith.
Absolutely.
All right, Jay, close us out, buddy.
Yes, sir. On that note, once again, we would like to thank you for joining us tonight, whether you're catching us in the live or you're going to listen to us in the replay. We know that time is your most valuable asset, so we do very much appreciate that you spend some of that time here on your wonderful Sunday evening here with us at the DGen Roundtable. As always, you can find me on Instagram at agent_J Schroth, on X at _P90 Hex. Once again, thank you, Boogie, for joining us. Thank you to our panel for giving us some of your time today. And until next time, which will probably be on either Wednesday or Friday, we will see you guys then. Take care.